So, hi everyone, I'm Adrien, like she said. The goal today is to talk about how to make portals in Spark AR. You will see that there are a lot of things which are related to how to make portals and everything in AR in general. So I will also talk a little bit about Lens Studio and Snapchat because there are some differences, but after that, the goal of this workshop is in fact to have a discussion on the portals we made. We made them with Poplar as a creative agency, and talking about them, I will maybe give you some tips we used to get to the final results we finally got. So, and of course, since it's all very new, everything Spark AR itself, and portals, you can't like accept what I'm saying like if it was the absolute truth. Maybe there are other ways to do things I will talk about. Maybe there are better ways. Maybe there will be better ways. Things are always changing. So I'm just giving you my experience with all of this, and I just want to start a discussion on that and to maybe give you some answers. So I'm Adrien. I live in France. You can hear it very well, I think. And I'm into AR since, I would say, yeah, everyone is hearing me. Okay. I'm into AR since like 2 years and a half now. First, maybe like a lot of people, I started making AR kit or, you know, Vuforia applications using Unity and like a lot of people. But when we started the company, which is called Calanque, we had a bit of trouble to get clients wanting our solutions, even if they were working and great and everything. It's really hard to make people download an entire app nowadays, even more when it's for, let's say, an event of our brand. So when Facebook and Snapchat released their AR platforms, it was a big relief for us because we had the skills to create 3D environments. We knew a little bit about AR, but everything is to be learned in AR. And so we directly started working using Lens Studio and Spark AR. And after that, we met with Poplar. And then we started creating like more ambitious projects, I'd say, and portals. So I will just show you a quick show reel of things we did recently for some brands. Sometimes we did reach these brands through Poplar, which is a very good way, you know, to meet brands. For instance, we did this mini game for Candy Crush for King through the Poplar marketplace. And yeah, I'd say our two main skills are making mini games, because basically we come from video games, so we know how to make things which are fun and very interactive, and also portals, because, as I said, creating 3D environments and everything is something we are very used to do. So this one has been made for Yves Saint Laurent. I will talk more about it later. This one has been made for Poplar themselves as like an asset for them to reach to brands and to show them Poplar were a thing. We made them on Facebook and Snapchat both. And after that, this one is the one I love the most. Is the one we made for Disney, the Aladdin show happening in London, coming from, and I have a lot of things to say about this one, so I will dive in the details after that. Yeah, it also has a selfie part in it. So yes, I think that's it. So this is some things we did at Calanc, and now we're really focusing on how to make interactive experiences in AR for brands which are new and really engaging for the communities, of course. We didn't see the first example. Oh, Adrien. Ah, yeah, you can see the screen, of course. Sorry, I will re-show you. So can you see the screen now? Is
Yeah,
anyone
we
able?
can see your screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, I was showing this. So these are mini games because, like I said, we do a lot of mini games. We did that for Palmolive, we did that for King, Candy Crush through Poplar, like I was saying. This one was on Snapchat, not on Facebook, but it could have been on Facebook, of course. It's all about the community and what the client wants. And we made this one for several clients, you know, changing the branding and everything. But what does interest us right now is the immersive part. So the portals we made, this one was made for Yves Saint Laurent, like I said, on Facebook. So you enter in and you discover this club with lights and everything. I've got a lot of things to say on this one as well. This one was made for Poplar in a way different art style, which I like because clients often want realistic looking portals or experiences, but I think that having a strongly different visual universe sometimes is way better to get attention. And this one was made for Disney, and it's not public yet, but it should be. It's up to discussions between Poplar and everyone. And we made it through Poplar as well. So, and I stopped there for the examples, and I will start talking about the portals themselves. I don't know about everyone here. I know some people, but and I have to say, there are some Facebook people here, so I will try to be careful about what I'm saying. Hi, David. So portals, they're pretty new, in fact, in AR. It's we call them portals, but in fact, it's there are a lot of type of experiences we can get, and we say this word portal to talk about experiences which fully immerse the user or the player in the universe. I think one of the first hey David, one of the first company which made portals was Ned. They're based in France, and now they're Snapchat partner, Snapchat creative partners. So they do a lot of stuff for Snapchat themselves, and they created this demo with using AR kits, and this was one of the first portals. After that, a lot of other companies and Net themselves use this way to use AR to create narrative content. I don't know if you saw this one for a non-governmental organization. It's you know, it's a portal where you could enter in and you could like feel the war happening, but you were in a child bedroom, and it was really great, you know, to make you feel like you were in a war situation. So portals are great for that. They're really great for to tell a story, or at least to show a universe or something really visual to the audience. What I have to say about portal is that portals on social media aren't right now they are not the best way to have a lot of shares, a lot of people using your effect, because they are a little bit too complicated, I would say, for people to use. Right now, people are on social media are still used to have face effects or mini games, maybe, you know, pretty simple things in terms of interactivity, and having to walk through a door or anything is a little bit hard in terms of first-time user experience. So it makes the numbers we have, I may be wrong, but the numbers we have show that they are not the best way to, yeah, enter the room for IR system. Thank you, David. And they are not the best in terms of massive virality, but portals are very good to have a strong commitment for people using them, and they're often a very good assets for brands to communicate on AR and everything, because they are visually spectacular, and they talk to people very easily. So that's it about portals. Just before going into Spark AR and the portals we made and everything, I have to say some words about the Lens Studio solution. So for for people who doesn't know about Lens Studio is the Snapchat's AR solution. It's great, like Spark AR is great, because they both are trying to find very interesting way to create AR experiences. For portals specifically, I would say, and Davide is here, so sorry for that, but I would say that Lens Studio is a bit more advanced, because they have a way better plane tracking, and they have portals, templates, and everything. So if you want to create portals just for you and for the demo and everything, I would advise using Lens Studio, but there are a lot of times you want to create things on Facebook. It's where your community is, or your client's community is, or I don't know. So I will try to detail how it works on Spark AR and on Facebook. So the first thing I can say is, yeah, plane tracking is way less reliable right now on Facebook. I know that Facebook people are working on that, and yeah, it's a very good thing, because I don't know if you tried it already, but it's not that good. Even more because plane tracking on Facebook is used for I would say desks, or little environments, but when you use it on the floor, your AR experience often starts to drift and everything. So I will try to tell you some tips we use to avoid these issues in Spark AR and other issues that may occur. So the first portal we did, it was like mid-2018, I would say, and it was for Poplar. Okay, I opened it earlier, but okay. So yeah, we did in mid-2018. So it's been made with an older version of Spark AR. It was called AR Studio before. Do not move. It's okay. So you might see some errors in the console. It's because of this obsolescence, I would say. So here is the portal, the Poplar experience we did. I will show you right away. Video. Okay, first I want to tell you something. Like I said, this is about having a discussion. If you have any question of what I said before, because I'm going too fast because of my French accent, be free to let me know. We try to questions. There is no absolute truth, so let's do it this way. So first, when you are in the Spark AR environment, there is no button saying I want to create a portal experience. Like I said, we call them portal experiences to be quick, and it's a good word to tell about this kind of experiences. But the whole point of AR is to create new ways to interact with users. So maybe what we are calling portals right now, it's not their final form. That's what I want to say. So Spark AR is agnostic about that. You just create an experience in Spark AR, and it ends being a portal experience. And in Spark AR, what you want to create first is a plane tracker. So I call it plane tracker O, which is the base, which is the default name. So when you do that in Spark AR, you're able to every object you will place as child of this plane tracker. Yeah, you always have the mode control. Yeah, definitely not the good naming. Anyway, so everything you place as child of this plane tracker will be placed on the plane detected by the Facebook app when you start the application, when you start the app or the experience or anything. A little thing you have to know about that is it will be a detail for a lot of people, but it's really important. The word transform of everything in the plane tracker isn't the same as the word transform of everything in the scene. Okay, it's just a detail, but it means that it's really hard to make interactivity where you can have an app where something happens once you enter the portal, because you detect the position of the user entering into the portal and everything. That is really, really hard to do in Spark AR right now. I hope this changes soon, because it's ready to the fact that the 000 position in the isn't the 000 position in the wall 3D scene. So it's really hard to compare them to know where every object is. I will talk about that more in details later. But what you have to see right there is you have a plane tracker, and then you add the objects you want to have. Okay, like if it was a simple plane tracking experience, like the mug experience they have in their templates, where you can just make a mug appear on your desk or your table or anything. So the portals in Spark AR are just a matter on what you will show to the user, because you can use them either on the floor, and then they will appear big enough for people to enter in them, but you can also make them appear on a desk, and then they will be very little. So what it means is that the scale of the experience isn't reliable yet. So don't make, for instance, if a clients come and say, okay, I want this portal to, I sell houses, and I want this portal to let my community, my clients, to enter in my in the house I'm selling. Well, this is a very wrong way to create a portal, because the portals in Spark AR are not scaled. You can't have any input on the final scale of the portals. So maybe users will make the portals and make the house appear on their desk, and well, in this case, the house will appear very little, and the client might say, oh, it's not the good scale, and you will say, yeah, I can't do much about that. People have to use it on the floor at a good distance and everything. It's really hard to explain. But right now it's this. So yeah, let's end about the bad things, and let's talk about the very good things on portals. So for this portal, yeah, there is a little bit of music. I have to mute it. Okay. So for this portal, what we did is we were kind of fascinated by the occluders. So I will talk a little bit about this occluder thing. You know that the main, I would say, yeah, the main challenge in AR is occlusion right now. A big player like Google or everyone is trying to find good ways to automatically generate occlusion. Occlusion is when you can see through 3D elements, meaning right here, if I were, I would say outside, I would see my garden or everything. I would just see my garden. I wouldn't see anything because there is this cube right here. I try to select it. Okay, yeah, I'm good. This trick right here. Okay, we have this cube, which is the occluder box. You always have that in Portal experiences because the goal of these experiences is to have people enter into a simple door and to see a whole universe behind this door. So you have to hide this 3D universe behind an occluder. And to do that in Spark AR, I don't know if it changed, but I don't think so. You just have to create a material which is like at 1% of opacity. I think it also works at 0%, but I'm not sure. But anyway, 1% isn't visible, so you can use it with 1% opacity, and then you have to change the layers of your occluder to be, you know, on the good position to hide everything behind. So everything from your 3D world you want to hide behind the reality, I would say, you have to put it on a layer which is behind the occluder layer, and then it works. It works this way. Then you can see, I can see the 3D world. So like in the final experience here, I can't see anything. Strange effects for this portal. So we created this 3D door with Poplar written on it. And then we applied the occluder material on the door. So you could see only the Poplar writing. You can ask me if you didn't understand this part, but it's just a door with holes writing Poplar. And yeah, that's a thing which is really interesting about portals and how to create a commitment and how to create engaging experiences using portals. I think it's great to have interactivity in them. I will talk more about that later. But for this one, we had this tap to open the door. In the snapshot version, we created, so yeah, you have this text appearing right here because it's deprecated and everything. Let's forget about that. So we use the tap to open because we couldn't have the go close to the door to open gesture, I would say. That is because it's really hard right now to know in Spark AR where the user is comparing to the 3D elements in the portal. So it's not doable that easily. You can do that in Snapchat really easily. For instance, that's one of the differences, which makes portals way more usable right now in the studio. So when you enter in it, I will talk on some 3D tips we used. The first one is that really took the 2 minutes limit as something really important for this project. So it's under 2 megabytes. But to have that, we had to optimize things. Right here, the art style helps a lot because it's not realistic. It's really flat, so you don't have to have high detailed texture and everything. It's way easier to keep under the 2 megabytes limit. I would say that to stay under the 2 megabytes limits in realistic looking portal. It's doable, but it's really, really hard, even more when, you know, you have to have a lot of objects or even animated things. It's kind of low, the 2 megabytes limits for such experiences. But for this one, it works, and it works because we did this. So yeah, I don't know if you can see that pretty well. I will do that. Oh, sorry, other client. Okay. So this is the texture we use for the whole scenery of the portal. And this helped a lot on optimizing the size of the effect. Only thing with that is it's not really agile. If you have to add any objects on the go because the client is saying, okay, we just want this or this to be added in the experience and everything, well, you have to redo the whole texture every time. So it's kind of, it's a problem. But if you are sure about your scenery, and if you think you don't have to have a lot of details on objects in the world, then I think this is a very good way to have a very optimized effect, either in terms of runtime performance. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you something which is really important. It's in alpha testing. Okay, I'm reading some messages. Okay, sorry. Yeah, a very important thing in Spark AR portals and plane tracking experiences in general is that they aren't really good on Android right now. Even on high-end devices, you will at most on my S8. I've got a Samsung S8. Even if the project is blank, you know, even if it's just a cube, and I'm using plane tracking to add a cube, it will be about 20 frames per second at most. And it's way different from iOS. On iOS, even on an iPhone SE, you can have a very good looking portal running at like 25, 30 frames per second. It's great. But on Android, you don't have that. So if having the experience available on Android is something really important for the client or for the project or anything, you have to take that into consideration a lot. Because I'm talking about my S8, but for instance, in the team, we have someone who has Huawei, which is like 2 or 3 years old. And on his every plane tracking experiences are at like 10 frames per second, which isn't usable because I would say the double bad effect when you don't have very good performances on plane tracking and on portal experiences is that bad performances impact the quality of the tracking a lot. So when you are running at 10 frames per second, tracking is completely unreliable. So everything is related. If you have good performances, your tracking will be bad. So your overall experience will be bad because it's low frame rates and because plane tracking is bad. So yeah, having a highly optimized scenery is really important. So you can see it's very low poly. Even the dragon, if you go closer to it, you can see that it's really poorly made in terms of 3D making. But since you can see it's only, I would say from this point of view, it works great. So working with low poly assets is mandatory when you do 3D portals. Yeah, you could have seen it since before, but what we wanted to create with this experience is that we want to immerse the user in something which felt really big. But when you're using the plane tracking right here, okay, I will try. I'll just do that. When you are using the plane tracking, I just have to. Okay. You can't have a very, very big world. Like I said, the scale is related to how the user is triggering the 3D world, so you have to take this into account. But you also can't have a very huge thing. So if you want to use users to feel like being environment, you may have to use the trick we used here. We faked the perspective. So we thought, and I think that's a good way to see portals right now, because it's really hard to make them like realistic looking. We thought about the experience like a painter would think about an artwork. So we faked the perspective to make it look like it was way bigger than it is. And it's the same for the dragon, you know, to make it look like it's going really far. Well, we worked on the scale of the dragon, and it works because thanks to the poor plane tracking, I would say, people will not try to go too far, so they will be there and they will see things like we want them to see them. Of course, it's not the final form of the portals, because it's all fake. So if people want to see the fakeness, they will see it. But from this point of view, it works very well, I think. So yeah, when you are making portals, and I think I don't think it will be the case at any time, but right now even more, you can't make them like you would make a 3D scene. Which is supposed to, you know, look like a real environment. You have to fake the scales, you have to fake the perspective, you may have to fake the animations. Yeah, you can see we used a simple plane with a texture of mountains, so it looks like there are mountains right there, but you know, it's just a plane. Same for the fog, you can see it right there, but you know, people don't pay attention to every detail, but it's only 3 planes, and we are moving the textures left and right to make it look like it's moving. But if you pay attention to it, you can see it's going right and then it's going left. But for the user, for the end users, they see that. They just enter and they're like amazed, because there are so much information that they have to take into account before seeing these little details. So yeah, fake it like you can, because right now the technology isn't like mature enough to have everything like it will be in real life, I would say. So that's it for the Poplar experience. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to check. No new messages. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask me anything on this experience if you want. If there is no question, I will dive into the other. You will be able to ask other questions after if you want. Yeah, where am I? Here. So why is that? No, it's opening. It's really weird because I did it earlier. So the YSL project, we did it the end of last year summer. And no, do not move. We did it, at the end of last year summer. So it was some months after the Poplar one. We learned a lot on the Spark AR tracking capabilities and everything. What we didn't learn with this project, with the Poplar project, was how to make realistic looking environment in portals in Spark AR. because the previous one wasn't realistic at all, so it was really good. It was great for us to make it using textures and everything. But for this one, client wanted us to have a realistic looking experience, which makes it way harder to realize in Spark AR, even more in September, because right now things changed a little bit with the new PBR pipeline and everything. I can't talk about that a lot because I only used it barely. But at this time, PBR was a thing in Spark AR, but it wasn't really usable because it wasn't looking as it's looking right now. Maybe Davide will be able to tell you more about that. Sorry. Yeah. So in this experience, something I forgot to mention is that people aren't used to portals yet. So each time you're creating such an experience, you have to think about the user journey. So to tell people to search for a clear, plain surface, and then to tap to begin the experience, you have to cut the experience in several steps, making it way harder to reach a lot of people in terms of virality and everything. But since there aren't a lot of native ways to tell users to do things and everything, for portals specifically, you have to cut everything in steps, I would say. So search for a clear surface and then tap, and then maybe there are some other ways which are more intuitive using images or animations, but we didn't use that for this project. So why is our project? Maybe you know the Black Opium commercial. It's a video commercial, of course, and they wanted us to recreate the video commercial as a portal, which might sound like a very great idea, because the Black Opium commercial is about this lady entering into an eclipse, and in the eclipse there is a club with lights, with people dancing, very, very YSL moods, shininess and everything. But in fact, even more in September, it was really hard to create such an experiences in Spark AR. And we had to redo a lot of stuff we did make at first. So the first thing is, you can see once again the occluder box, everything. You always have that. It can be a box, but sometimes it's better to have a sphere, or I don't know, but you have to have this occluder thing right here. Okay, I just changed the video. Okay. Yeah, start. Sorry. Can I? Yeah. Sorry, it's lagging a little bit. Okay. So here you can see a 3D model who will enter the eclipse. For these animations, well, you have to take into account that you are limited on the size, so you can't make very big animations. This one is it's medium, I would say, because she walks and everything. At first, we had in the portal, we had a lot of people dancing and everything, but performances was way too low, so we had to remove everyone. And also, the client wanted everyone to look like a real person, but this isn't. This is just undoable right now in Spark AR. So yeah. Realistic looking portals have a lot of limitations. That's what I want to say. But there are some tricks you can use. For instance, we learned that sometimes external video textures can be really helpful. The client wanted the eclipse look like an eclipse. They wanted this flare you can see right here. But lighting in Spark AR is pretty limited right now. I can try to insert a light. Yeah, you have the 4 basic lights, but once you're in, well, that's it. You only have this these settings, which is really poor when you want to create an atmosphere, everything. You want things to glow, to be, and the visual shader wasn't synced yet in September. So yeah, lighting was really poor. And since lighting was really poor, we couldn't have this flare effect. So we bought a video eclipse from, I don't know, maybe Shutterstock. I don't remember. We stored this video on a server and we used it as an external texture on a plane. And we used an occlusion plane to hide the rest of the video, making it look like it's round and everything. And it works. When you know it's a video, you can see it, because you can see it's kind of pixelated because it's trimmed and everything. But when you don't know it's a video, it works. You know, the effect is here. Sometimes using external video is a very good way to fake effects you can't reach using real-time capabilities of Spark AR. We also use video for another thing in this project. The YSL logo right here, it's a video, a black background, and the YSL logo from the Black Opium commercial. It would have been really expensive to use lighting, or I don't know, to recreate this effect. So we used this. So having what I want to say is that having a full control environment. Yeah, sorry, I just have to check once again. Yeah, okay. So having full control on a 3D environment to create portals and everything is great, but this doesn't mean you can't use such as things like 2D elements, or like I said, 2D videos to fake some things. So yeah, the lights here, at first we tried to modelize them in 3D, but it was so expensive in terms of polygons. We instead use particles, which is visible because some lights disappear, some other appear. But when the user enters, first it's really uncommon that they will look at they will look up. But if they do, they will just see, okay, there are lights, and that's it. So once again, you have to fake a lot of things when you are doing portals experiences. And I would say, yeah, it's not the fact that the fact that you can do pretty much what you want because it's a 3D environment doesn't exclude that. And final, we wanted to have lights, a lot of lights in the club. Well, you can only have 4 lights in a Spark AR scene. 4 lights is pretty low. So we couldn't have all the lights we wanted. So 2 options. We had to bake the lights, but we wanted them to be real time, to move. So we couldn't use baking, or we could have used baking if we had made texture move. For instance, we had this first version where we had a projector, which was a plane, like a triangle, and an alpha texture on it, faking a light. But the clients didn't want big projects or like that, so we had to remove it. But it was a good way to fake lighting. But in the end, you can't have realistic looking and real-time lighting a lot in the Spark AR portals because you are limited with these 4 lights. And more than that, lights are not they are not designed in Spark AR to be used for big 3D environments. They are thought to be used for effects, or I would say low-scaled environments. So it means that when you have to highlight, when you have to illuminate for a story, a whole scenery like that, you have to push the intensity setting a lot. making you lose a lot on the subtleness of your lighting. So yeah, definitely, if you have to have strongly lighting, strongly looking lighting mood, I would say in your portal, just bake everything if you can. If you have to have everything real time, you have to find tricks. For instance, here it's not visible from this, but from this perspective it will be. We attached, it's really rough, you know, but we did it this way. We attached the directional lights to the camera, and we made the wall have a strong specular on its material. So when you turn your head with your phone, when you turn your phone, it looks like the wall is shining from a lot of positions and everything, but in fact it's just that you have the directional lights attached to your phone. Okay, it's pretty rough. Don't do that if you have other ways to do the same things. Okay, that's it for ESA. And okay, it's taking much more time than what I thought. At first I was like, oh, I just have 3 things to show, it will be like 10 minutes long.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think because of timing,
yeah,
I think we should go on to questions as we
have
12 minutes left. Sorry about that. Thank you, Adrien. That's been so
no problem. Okay. Okay, no problem. Just be free to ask me anything.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to chat now on here. Like, I know all your mics are muted, but just unmute them now if you'd like, or pop them in the chat.
Hey, this is Sam here from New York.
Hi.
You got Adrien, great presentation, really cool stuff you've made. What kind of things would you like to see Spark AR Studio have?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, sure. What kind of things would you like Spark AR Studio to have?
What kind of things? Well,
yeah, features.
I would say, what I talked about, the plane tracking, if it was way more reliable, either on both on Android and iOS, it would be a very good first step. I think waiting for that since a little bit of time now. And second, the lighting, the lighting capabilities in Spark AR. I think that now we have good PBR. It's way much easier to have good-looking things in Spark AR and in portals in general. But having more than 4 lights in real time and having more inputs on the settings and everything, I think that would be really great in Spark AR. What about hand tracking? Have you used? I don't know if I answered to your question, Samuel.
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much. You did.
Okay. Thank you. What about hand tracking? Have you used hand tracking, and do you have tips on how to use it? Okay, Samuel as well. Okay. Hand tracking is really expensive in terms of performances. Even more on Android. So having hand tracking and portals, so plane tracking and hand tracking in the same experience, and Adrien is no-go right now. We try to detect the hand to detect the gesture, to make you push the door to open it. It works, but it's so much expensive in terms of performances that I think it's not worth right now to use both features in the same experience. That's my only tip.
Cool, thank you.
But it's a good question, because you are stepping on the field of interactivity. I couldn't talk about the Disney experience, which is way more interactive than the 2 others. I think that's a very good way to develop portals, is to add way more interactivity into them. I saw this experience from Fanta on Lens Studio. You had to find things in the portal. So the whole portal was like very dark, but your phone was a light, and you could use that to find elements in the portals. It was so interesting and so engaging in, you know, wandering inside the portals. So add interactivity is a very good thing, I think.
Other than portals, what do you see most clients requesting?
Well, like I said, portals aren't the most engaging. Yeah, they are very engaging for the people who used it, but it's not the most massive in terms of virality type of effects. But clients don't know a lot about AR yet, so they think portals are like a very big thing for their brand because it's simple to understand. It's just about having their brand universe put in 3D and let the user enter in it. So it's very simple for them to understand it. So I would say clients want portals a lot. And maybe it's because we are more focused on portals, but that's the main thing client wants from us. And after that come the traditional face filter effects. Well, we don't do a lot of them because that's not, you know, we're not really specialized in the making of this. We can, but also there are, I would say, a typology of clients who want minigames. And I think they're right, because minigames are really interesting in terms of creativity. You can have a lot of kind of challenges and everything. They're great for marketing campaigns because you can have a contest and everything. The work we did for Palmolive, they did that. They created a contest using the effect we did in Facebook. And so people having the best score had to share the video of them having the score. So, you know, it created a lot of interactivity with the brand. And also minigames are great for the time you spend with the brand. And often that's what the brands want, people spending time with the brand. And when you have a minigame, people will try once, they will fail, they will try again, and try again, and it will be a lot of time. So minigames, yeah, it's a big thing also. And then for minigames, you can use, yeah, all the features you want. Hand tracking would be great. For instance, for the head ball we did, you could change the head with the hand. It would be great as well, I think. But it's expensive in terms of performance. Yeah. Any other questions? Maybe I can repeat things if you didn't understand for some parts, or I don't know.
Most of the mini games use head tracking, or do you use eyes or mouth as input?
Yeah. Well, it would be great to create portals which would be mini games. That would be great. The only thing is that, as I said, it's really hard to track the user position comparing to the 3D elements and everything. So if you want to create something like a first-person shooter, I don't know, as a portal experience, you don't have raycasting in Spark AR, so it's really hard to track where the user is heading to and everything. You have to do a lot of stuff. And in comparison to the scale of the project, I don't think it's worth right now. So yeah, I think games in portals will be a thing once we have yeah, first better plane tracking, and after that a better API, you know, to get crucial informations when you want to make games. Thank you, David. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking a lot about the things which aren't great in Spark AR, but it's because I just want it to be so cooler than it is right now for portals, and I think it's like one of the most interesting things in AR right now. So, if yeah, thank you, David.
I'd like to say like a massive well done to Adrien on this webinar. It was amazing, and I hope it was super. Oh, sorry.
Oh, Ariana, yeah. So sometimes it takes. Yeah, I can answer you, Ariana. It's 1 month. 1 month is good for us. We are 3 to 4 working on them. You know, on Spark AI projects, it's not interesting to work at like 12 or I don't know on them because it's not meant for that. So 1 month, but in this month you have to include, you know, the back and forth with the client and everything, I would say.